Aloha, Travis and Kristin. Welcome to the Fempreneur Raw Talk. I'm so excited to have you guys today. This is like such an honor to interview you and share all the amazing things that you're doing. I want to formally introduce you to Kristin Francis is the co-founder and coach of Mindful Parent Life Coaching, vice president of board of directors and weekly mentor for Humanity Hale, a local nonprofit helping traumatized youth, a mom to 3 boys, and married to her best friend, Travis. Travis Francis is the other co-founder and coach of Mindful Parent Life Coaching. He's an entrepreneur, child whisperer, best dad to 3 boys, and Kristin's amazing hubby. Yay and welcome.
Thank you, Aisha, very
much.
much.
We appreciate that.
We're so happy to be with you.
So thrilled.
These are also my amazing clients that I've been able to support for the last 2 years, and I've just seen them do just such beautiful, wonderful things for the community, for parents, for children. So welcome, you two.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about how you got into all of this. Like, what was the driving factor of going, like, I want to help parents and kids? Tell us.
Got it.
You pause, but we'll keep talking. So you want me to start off with it? Awesome. Yeah. It goes back to give you a shortened version of the story for us. It goes back to coming to the realization roughly 4 or 5 years ago that where we were heading as a family and where we were heading with parenting our kids was not going anywhere near where we dreamed of or thought of growing up, right? As parents, that hey, I'm going to be a parent someday. I'm going to be that, one that connects with my kids and has great communication. And then real life happens. And with me specifically, it was tons of insecurities from childhood that caused me to be so driven with my businesses over the years that I literally was at the point before we had moved to Hawaii back 3.5 years ago now, that I was not willing at times even to go home until 10 o'clock, till everybody was asleep. That's how bad it got with me specifically, is I was so overwhelmed with the business and what I was trying to achieve and trying to get ahead of everybody else and beat everybody, that everything at home was so beyond overwhelming for me. So I would come home at the end of a long day and just expect Kristin to have everything perfect. That, that stay-at-home mom job is so easy, with 3 children, that you could just like snap your fingers and everything's just clean and perfect, And that was my expectation as this unaware dad, right? And so that was my side of things and where we were. And as far as a couple, it just led to so many problems. We were fighting all the time in front of the kids, constantly. We'd talk about stuff like potential divorce in front of the kids, which again is another horrible thing to do. But we did it like so many parents, right? We'd yell at our kids all the time. I've been diagnosed years ago with depression and social anxiety. So in the last so many years, that became, of living in Illinois, where we came from before Hawaii, that became overwhelming for our family. Not only myself to deal with, but for Kristin and the kids to deal with. Kristin got diagnosed years back with complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which really also threw our family for a loop. And a lot of it, honestly, was me as the husband not being able to handle her emotions when she found all of this out. And so it came to a head in Illinois after COVID. And we just felt like we were at the point of the family just breaking down. Divorce, me not seeing the kids, me at that point probably not wanting to see the kids that much because, again, of my focus on building a business. And so we decided to move here for so many different reasons. But a huge part of it was to save our family. In reality, we wanted to move to a place that put us in a different environment with the kids and gave us more opportunities here with less stress and less traffic to be able to start having real conversations. So once we got here and started having better conversations with our kids, we started going, God, this feels good, right? less yelling, less poor communication between each other. The house was starting to calm down some, but we knew there was a ways to go, and we knew at the time we wanted to make the changes to improve our family life permanently for the rest of our lives with our kids and the relationships that we had. I was done being that absent father that goes to work and that's all I think about even at home. And I don't really, get into what the kids are doing on a day-to-day basis. And so we started, Kristin and I, putting in all the work between learning all different forms of meditation that we've done ever since, to other forms of self-care that we got into, and then specifically working with therapists. Kristin found a therapist here on island shortly after we moved here, and I found what he calls himself a men's work. He's a therapist by trade, but he focuses on men. A lot of men like me, they're parents to kids, and he showed me as a man to take ownership of the damage I was causing over the years to my family. I forgive myself for that damage I've caused now at this point, but to take that ownership and work from that basis, that my ego as a man and my triggers from childhood that come into play because of my insecurities to this day as a person, that sorry, I lost my
All of these things, the triggers and the things that you've had that Tom was telling you.
So taking ownership was a huge part, and it's a huge part of our program also that we started developing over the last couple of years. When we started saying, oh my gosh, we had talked to a bunch of, like, I'll give a specific example, soccer parents. We've been involved with soccer with one of our kids on the island from the beginning since we got here. And so we started having parents that would notice how we were handling and dealing and communicating to our kids at practice and at games. And they started asking us questions consistently. And so they bring up things like, wait a minute, how are you guys so calm? Why do you never raise your voice to them? Why is your communication so good? Why are your kids so honest and open with you? Because they would hear our kids responding to us. And so we would tell them what we were doing. And so those parents started coming back to us over like the next year after we started giving out that information and giving us the biggest hugs, the biggest smiles, and saying, oh my gosh, you have changed our lives. So that's why we do what we do, is to change other parents' lives, which change their kids' lives, which changes families, which then, as you know, percolates
Changes the
out
world.
into the community, into the world, right? Like, we want to have that kind of change with mindful parent life coaching, that we've been there. We've been those parents, like most parents, that are clueless on how to deal with all of this, because it's coming at us fast and furious, right? Every single day, whether you have one kid or 10 kids, we're all dealing with it, right?
Yes.
Sorry, I hope I didn't go too long on that.
No, I just love your passion, and I just really want to acknowledge both of you for seeing how things were just not working and making such a massive shift in your lives. Not only, did you move from Illinois to Hawaii, which is just beyond, right? That's such a huge transition. But then from that point, really tried to do all the dirty, deep work that it takes to make change and be accountable, that this is not in the easy path by any means. So I just really want to acknowledge you both for what you've been through. And now that you're basically alchemizing that whole experience and sharing and helping the world. So it's just so important. I mean, we deal with it every day as parents, right? Just now, I were here on vacation in Hawaii, and I realized my son stole his best friend's wallet, from his house, and rearranged my friend's son's room without asking, right? And I'm going like, how do I
Yep.
deal with this? Like, I'm upset. I feel all these feelings. It's my triggers too, right? Of like, what am I doing wrong that my son is stealing
Yep.
what do I do? I have nothing left. I don't know what to do, right? It's like all these things come at us because we are so triggered from our childhood, just like you're saying. Like none of us are, none of us can escape what our childhood did to us, whether it was intentional or not, but it's how we deal with things now, right? So yeah, it's just none of this is easy at all. So
No,
Mhm.
absolutely
so
not.
tell us a little bit more about how you're helping people right now. What are the programs you're offering? How can people find you too and get some support?
Sure.
Kristin, yeah.
So we have 2 workshops that are coming up. One is a 3-day workshop, and that one is June 19th, 20th, and 21st. And it's from 9:30 to 11 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. And that workshop will be explaining the conscious parenting method, which is what Travis and I had over this time discovered was the conscious parenting method. And as a matter of fact, Oprah Winfrey just recently declared it as revolutionary. She just thinks it's such an amazing way to parent. And so we've lived it, and so we've seen the change, and so we know that it is an amazing way to parent, and so it is a revolutionary way to parent. And so the 3-day workshop will have information on just pretty much what conscious parenting is, the fundamentals of it, the some exercises and strategies, and specific tools that you can use like in the moment with your kids when you're going through those times of frustration and overwhelm and you just can't handle it. You just have to, we've got tools for that. And but also a lot of education as far as going back to your own childhood, like we talked about, and just kind of digging in a little bit with that with some like self-exploratory exercises and things. So it's a 3-day workshop, but that we have a lot condensed into it. And so that's coming up this June here soon in a few weeks. And then our other workshop is a 6-week workshop. And that workshop is something I'm super excited about as well, because we'll have the parents starts, let's see, that is starting July 11th, and it'll be every Thursday. And that one's for 2 hours. And that's where we get to meet with parents and really dig into what the conscious parenting method is, how we use it to change our lives, but then most importantly, we have a system set up for them and how to incorporate it into theirs, and an action plan for them to follow afterwards to continue this into their life. So yeah, we're really excited about both workshops.
I love that you guys, have planned things that are really tangible for parents, because I think that's what we need as parents, is that immediate toolbox to go, okay, how do I deal with this right now? Because I was just 5 minutes ago dealing with the same thing, like, I'm going to walk away. I'm just going to walk away, right? Because that's my instinct, of course, is to yell, because I was yelled at as a child, because my parents were yelled at as children, right? On and on it goes. Like, we are the cycle breakers in this generation. We want to do better by our kids. We know there's other ways, but it's so easy just to fall back into that automatic trigger. Your whole body starts to shake, right? You're getting upset. It's really hard to stop yourself in the moment, but you're doing damage when you don't, right? Like shaming our kids, as you guys talk about, is not healthy for anybody. And as a parent, it makes you feel terrible as well,
And
because
then
you're
you
like,
shame
"God, I
yourself
could have done better."
afterward. Yeah.
Right. It's just a terrible cycle that we can get stuck in. Even the best, well-meaning parent can do these things. And so I love that you have like real tangible tools that you're going to be giving out to the parents that are joining you. And I know that you and I have talked about, just how your approach, right? You have a very shame-free approach that you guys do, where,
Absolutely.
you're not going to come in here to their workshops and feel like you're some terrible person or terrible parent, because they're
Not at
fully
all.
everything where they, how the rock bottom they had to hit to get
No,
to where they are, right? All of us can admit that we've had some unfine moments as parents, right?
absolutely.
And it's a
Yep.
Not a
totally
doubt.
safe space. Yeah, do you guys want to speak more to that, your shame-free zone that you hold?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's something, if I could go back just a little bit too, Travis you know, he looks back at how he parented and sees the way he shamed the kids and the way
And
he
you.
was, and myself. But I just want to quickly say also that I was the mom who was not present, was not there. Like I was there, but I wasn't, you know,
aware.
I was not aware whatsoever. And then after, not only that, I couldn't, I got to a point I couldn't even function because of the complex PTSD I was diagnosed with. And so I know what it's like to be just unaware but wanting to be aware. You want to be there, but you're just not. And it's so hard. And so going back to your question, which was, remind me.
More of just how you know,
Safety of our
have
stuff.
created a container that's
Thank
really
you.
shame-free. Yeah.
Yes. And so we both as parents, we both have made many mistakes ourselves. And we continue to make mistakes to this day. We are not perfect.
Never
we don't
will
claim
be.
to be perfect.
No.
The only difference we have now is that now we continue to have bad days. I mean, today we're having a really crappy day right before this. But we now have the tools to get through
And the
those.
awareness,
And
going
the-
back to that, sorry.
Huge, and the awareness to be able to get through those moments.
Yes.
And so we want parents to know, no, we've been there. We've all made mistakes. So come with yourself, your authentic self, and we'll work together and we'll all become better parents together.
Yeah. I just love that. I mean, Travis, I can really relate to the story you were saying, as a solo mom and sole provider, there is times where I just sit in the car and I'm like, oh,
Guessing you're
did I
saying as a
freeze?
single mom.
Oh, I know.
But I'm
I
not sure.
don't know why the internet, I'm sitting right next to the internet and it keeps going out, but
There we go. You're back.
You're back.
okay.
What are you gonna say?
I was saying I can relate to Travis as the sole provider, as the solo mom, like sitting in the car, not wanting to get out and go into the house and like deal with the next level of like, okay, my day is not even over. Now I have to go in the house and do the dinner and da, 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 da. And I just want to sit there and like hide because you're so overwhelmed with life as it is. You're a provider, right? Like I can so relate to you going, I don't even want to go home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I can relate to Kristin when I was in partnership, being the stay-at-home mom, just dying, just so exhausted, like not feeling seen, waiting for someone to like relieve me. Right.
So
I
true.
can see both sides. I mean, all of us as a society are dealing with so much. I feel like parents are not getting nearly the support that they need from society, the government, this and that. And we're just like basically already hanging by a thread. And then you got your kid maybe doing something and it can easily just send you right over the edge, So it's, I mean, we're all guilty. We all want to do better. When you say, I'm going to have kids, right? You think you're going to have this perfect relationship and it's going to be amazing. And a lot of the times you end up just kind of feeling bad and sad, right? And I think you guys are on a mission to bring back the joy of parenting, taking the shame out of it on both sides, right? Shaming the children, shaming yourselves. So I just love the beautiful mission that you're on. It really is going to help so many people. Yeah.
We really appreciate that.
Yeah. So, okay, everyone, you can join their workshop June 19th through the 21st, 9:30 to 11 Hawaii Standard Time. We'll make sure we drop all of these links for you to join. And then they have another one July 11th, which they'll be sharing with you in the first workshop, right? Anything else you guys want to add about what you have going on and what it's like to work with you?
I want to add one thing that we really haven't talked about is people have asked us, working with you compared to me going to my therapist I've gone to for the last 20 years and the advice they give me about my kids and how I should interact and deal with them and everything, or going online and finding information online that you go, you know what? I like that. I'm going to utilize that. Huge difference, obviously, working with a service like ours is that attention to practice. We practice with our clients in these sessions. Any client that we've worked with so far, it's all about practicing this. So it's not only learning it and being aware of all of it and all the things that we can do and say that cause damage, but it's also practicing how do we correct all of this, right? It's something a therapist, typically works on ourselves and, stuff from our childhood, right? And they go back to, or they talk about, how did the week go? And they give you maybe some advice on the kids, but they're not a parent expert. They might not even be a parent, right? Some people, we all have I have a therapist that, Tom, he doesn't have kids, And so when he gives advice, I understand it's coming from his years of experience as a therapist, but I also understand he doesn't have kids. And so again, that's what we provide also that differentiates us is we've been through this. We have 3 kids, right now from 11 to 17. So we've been through this for a long time now and continue to go through it. So we continue to practice and apply everything that we teach our parents. So if we come up with a better way, we'll teach our clients that also, our parents that we work with. So hopefully that
I
helps.
love that. It sounds like you're really like with your clients through this whole process. It's not like an hour, like, okay, bye, right? You're like, no, we're going to
Yes.
see you through this and we're going to keep evolving with you and
Yes.
bringing you the latest, like, most updated ways. And yes, I mean, talk about the range. You have a teenager, you have a young child. I mean, you really have dealt with a lot of the
Yes.
stages and, I mean, my son just turned 10. Oh my God. I feel like I'm in a whole new stage now.
Oh,
This is
you
not,
are. You hit a
things
whole
have
new.
Yep.
changed, I'm just
Yep.
like, wow, is this arguing gonna always be here? Like with everything I say, we're gonna argue. I'm just like, this is new
No,
and
it
this is so
won't.
fun.
It doesn't need to be, is what I'll say to that.
You-
Yeah,
and if-
I mean, I need to come to your class. I'm just going, wow, kid. All right. You are
um,
testing mom on every level.
That's what they love to do.
They
That's
sure
what
do.
they
Yeah.
love to do.
One
Well,
other
because I
quick
mean,
thing is that I haven't mentioned, or that we
Yeah.
hadn't mentioned, is that Tom, Travis's men's work therapist, is going to be at
Oh,
each of our
yes.
workshops.
Great point.
And so, it'll be a
So
great.
he's going to be
opportunity.
bringing his expertise on a couple different subjects. Yeah, we are so blessed to have him.
wow.
An honor.
That's huge because I
Yeah.
know that guy has quite the waiting list. So
Oh,
that's
he's
amazing
phenomenal.
to have an
Yeah.
expert like that come in. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you
Great
guys have
point.
done so much studying of all the greats out there that are doing
Oh,
this work. Dr.
yep.
Shafali, right? Who was the other guy that you guys have followed really
Gabor.
closely?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys know your stuff. And you've also shared with me just because I know you guys well, right? Just how much you've seen your family change by applying what you're going to be teaching, that you are literally living the results of what
Yes.
you've done, right? You
Thank
can
you for saying
stand
that.
in that.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's incredible and it's so needed. And there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I need help as a parent, because none of these kids come with little manuals, none
Yeah.
of them,
As we know,
right?
right?
And we're
Yep.
dealing with things that are like, as kids, we didn't deal with. I didn't have a phone in my hand. My parents were like, don't come home till sunset. Now it's like, you can't let your kid out of your sight, right? I mean, we're dealing with bullying on the internet. We're dealing with things that none of us grew up with and that are complicated and challenging. And again,
Yes.
none of that came with a manual either. Right. So I
Yeah.
just applaud everything you're doing, and we'll make sure that everybody knows how to get into your classes and workshops and
Love
how
it.
to follow you and all of that. Yeah. Congratulations to you both. And Travis, seriously, hearing a man be like, I had to take responsibility, I had to, just the way that you've evolved is just, it's amazing. It really is
Thank
so
you. I am
inspiring.
literally a completely different. I was very much what I learned over time before making this drastic life shift. I was very much like my dad in so many ways that I didn't even realize. And so I feel like a lot of those things that I've worked so hard at to improve on. And again, not that I think badly of how my dad raised me. He raised me to the best of his ability and he loved me to death. And I felt that. There's just a lot of things that in the way my parents did it that can be improved on just by being aware. They just weren't aware. Nobody talked about this stuff to them. Their friends
Not at all.
didn't, their family didn't. Nobody was talking about this kind of stuff back then.
No.
Back in the 70s, 60s.
Right.
No,
And
in
so,
fact,
Sure.
there was a stigma, to be talking
Oh,
about. It's
yeah.
very like, keep your life private, and we don't talk
Yes.
about anything back then, right? So
Sure, pretty
Correct.
I
logical.
love that now in society, I do feel like there is a total trend shifting towards people really looking more inward and figuring out
We
what,
love it.
Yeah.
they should be doing better and different in life. So this is a really good time for us all to be like, okay, we see what's happening in the world right now. The kids literally are our future. What can we do to help them, not be so trauma ridden like all of us?
Yes,
Right,
exactly.
right. And the other thing too is I feel like I've won the lottery, as now, I don't, he doesn't come home like all expecting everything to be perfect, and he doesn't yell like he used to. He's gentle with us. He's really empathetic and really listens
Thank you.
to what we say and cares about what we have to say. And so I feel very lucky.
Thank you. I appreciate
You
that.
too. You are just the cutest. I just adore you and your
Thanks.
relationship and your whole family. So, all right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I'm
you. We
so
love
excited
you.
to promote this workshop, and we'll make sure everybody has it. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, everyone.
I will
Thank you.